US President Joe Biden says his administration is working to find a way to stop the violence through diplomacy.
It's also a priority for me to urgently address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. At my direction, our teams are working in the region, including communicating directly with the governments of Israel, Egypt, Jordan, and other Arab nations, and the United Nations to surge support and humanitarian consequences for Hamas attack to help Israel. You know, we can't lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas and Hamas's appalling attacks, and they're suffering as a result as well.
Well, the US says it's working with Egypt, Israel and Qatar to open the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt. For more on this, let's speak to Patty Culhane, who's standing by for us in Washington. Patty, thanks for coming along. So first up, what do we know about US efforts to get its citizens out of Gaza?
Well, what we know is coming from the pool of reporters that travel with the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. Then they distribute it to the rest of the Washington, D.C. press corps. That's part of State Department and Pentagon coverage. And they are saying, and this report just came out, that they had reached an agreement with those countries, as you mentioned, to get dual citizens out of the Rafah crossing, not just U.S. citizens. They think they're about 500, but perhaps other dual citizens, people with dual citizenship through Rafah. They said that was going to go from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. That expires in 16 minutes. And by all accounts, the Rafah crossing is still, in fact, closed. And we do know they sent a message to American citizens in Gaza to make their way to the Rafah crossing, saying that it could open up with very little notice to be able to get them out. Again, it's a very confusing situation. We do know that this is a priority for the Biden administration. Secretary Blinken is continuing his tour. He was in Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Now we believe he's headed to the United Arab Emirates, and then he will go on to Egypt. Importantly, in all of these places, he's hearing from his counterparts that they're calling for a ceasefire. The U.S. has not called for a ceasefire. They've not used the words restraint. They have said that Israel needs to follow the international laws of war. Israel is not following the international laws of war, committing war crimes, specifically when it's total blockade of Gaza with water, food, and electricity. But the Biden administration not calling them out on that at all.
And Patty, also there's movement of US embassy personnel. What is the latest on that?
This is usually a sign that the U.S. says it's going to get bad for a very long time. This is not a move they make very easily, but they have announced that all non-essential U.S. personnel from the embassy in Jerusalem, remember former President Donald Trump moved it to Jerusalem, Biden has not moved it back, but saying everyone from the embassy in Jerusalem and the other facilities in Tel Aviv, they're non-essential personnel, their families, they need to get out. And we do know that the U.S. is facilitating flights of U.S. citizens in Israel. They've been chartering planes, getting them out of Tel Aviv. So now taking this additional step, an indication of just how serious and just how bad and just how long the U.S. fears this could go.
Patty, thanks for that. Patty Culhane reporting. Thank you.